So hello, Kingpins 24 audience. I am happy to be with a group of experts that at the same time are legends in the denim world. And the idea is to discuss about always hot topic in our industry is about meeting regulations and standards. We are under pressure in the whole industry, but it seems that textile and specifically denim is more, on under the microscope of authorities and brands. So first of all, let me introduce to the uh, group of people we have today with us. Elisabete Oliveira is based in Portugal, and she works for Denim Clothing Company. So hi, Elisabete.
Hi, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you, Elisabete. Then we have Hasan from Naveena. Hi, Hasan, glad to see you.
Hello, thank you very much.
Then, okay, we have in the US, we have Tobin, that's working for Kaltex. Hi, Rich. How are things?
Hi, how are you, Miguel?
And then we have Mark Hicks, another big name in the denim industry. Hi, Mark.
Hello.
So, well, this is a very complex subject because there are different levels in the regulations. We have some pressure from governments, and we have pressure from eco-certifying bodies. We have pressure from brands. We have pressure from NGOs. So the first question is probably for Rich. Let's do the other way around. So, Rich, do you think that there are far too many standards and compliance rules that need to be met by the denim industry?
Yeah, Miguel, I would say that there are absolutely way too many certs. And so it's very difficult for people to navigate their way through the forest of certifications with over 100 different standards and given certifications. It's very daunting to find one's way through. So I think the complexity of it needs to be addressed, and we need to have one authority that really helps guide all of us, not only the brands, but also the NGOs, and then downstream to the mills on which way we should go so that we can have one unified, unilateral set of standards we all follow and aspire to.
That's kind of a dream, right? Having one standard that is accepted by everyone, right?
Yeah.
This one seems to be impossible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but we have to dream. Without dreams, without hope, without aspirations, where would we be? So it's like the COVID-19. It's hampered us, but it's also ushered in a lot of opportunity, and it's exacerbated trends and/or movements in the market. So, I think it's something we need to really consider and discuss further.
Mark, actually meeting the requirements from the different levels is not only a intellectual effort. I mean, the mills need to invest also.
Absolutely.
New equipment, new technology. So it's quite a big burden for the denim mill, right?
I think it's a big burden, and it really depends on where you are in the world, because there's different legislations in different countries, and there's different levels of focus on the environmental legislation within those countries. I currently at Advanced Denim, China has very rigorous legislation, and in the past 2 years, they've kind of taken that legislation and moved it from the local to the overarching government and really enforced that, and that closed down, a big portion of denim mills. So, Advance is definitely invested to meet all those regulations, but in terms to stay up with it, you really have to invest to exceed all the legislations, because there's going to be more and more, and as countries evolve, you can't keep chasing it. You've got to stay ahead of it. So, investing in new dyeing and investing in finishing. I mean, the Chinese government has cameras on all your affluent. So, 24/7, something goes wrong, they're coming in and they're going to shut you down. So you've got to be way ahead of that.
Okay, that sounds like a heavy pressure, to have the cameras on you.
Yeah, cameras. Yep, cameras, and they're linked into your system of your affluent too. So,
taking samples and everything. Okay, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And Hasan, you know, is there any logic? I mean, do you see any logic on having that many certifications? I mean, why? Why do you think that the industry keeps going like a headless chicken to adopt all kind of regulations and standards? Why is that? There's no logic, right?
Miguel, there is no logic, as we all know. There are several bodies available. First of all, I think when any company put a plant, they have to go through the law of land, you know, and they follow the law of land. And then there are certain bodies which they go through and fulfill their requirements. And then there is a brand regulations, you know, each brand had their own, set of requirement we need to fulfill. And then if you are working in both Europe and America at the same time, then the standards are different, you know. So sometimes it is really difficult to explain, and some of the regulations are, not aligned with each other as well, you know. So we need, sometimes we have to explain the law of land is this, sometimes we have to explain the brand requirement is this, and sometimes we need to explain the body is saying like this. So it's a bit complicated situation, and nowadays we are working on that to fulfill all of them. So it is a tough situation for a manufacturer.
Yes, it is. It is. It is very much. The thing, Elisabete, is that there are new rules almost every day. That there are new standards almost every day. That there are new organizations that are setting standards and stamping and everything. Elisabete, do you think that the denim industry is, approached by these eco organizations, by NGOs, by the brands? When they decide to go for a new standard or setting or modifying a certain standard, do you think that the opinion of the denim industry is, valid? Are they approaching the denim industry for advice or for understanding?
No, actually, Miguel, until now, we never feel that someone want to hear us and to understand our difficulties. Actually, each of them contact us and give us the rules and tells us what they need and all the regulations, all their standards. And finally, of course, we want to be in the market in the future, so we have to fulfill all these requirements. But no one asks us how is it possible? There is with all this infrastructure, you need to invest all these investments. Is it workable? No, until now, no one is asking us about our position about this and all that we can do for this. But we are here to work on this, and we are here to hear them. But it's very difficult to handle because there's a lot of investments and that's the thing. But no one is asking us until now, and at least in Pakistan, no one put all the people together to hear us and to know our position about this.
Right. And now let me ask the whole group is, what would you like to change or things to change to make more reasonable, to make more, let's say, again, logical, to have one standard? I mean, what would you do? I mean, talking to brands, talking to governments, having meetings, what would you think would be required to change the current status quo? Any of you?
Yeah, Miguel, I'll take a stab at that. And I think the irony is, and we've all mentioned it in one way, shape, or form, is that it isn't ironic that the investment to maintain our adherence to all these standards has been pushed onto the weakest and the lowest part of the supply chain. You know, the glass ceilings of price, this whole concept of price is the only thing that matters, has to be shattered. And at the end of the day, we need a collaboration between all the entities in the supply chain, not just the mills, but the brands, because the brands really dictate where the sourcing is headed, how it's done, and with whom it's done. So I would say to Hasan that his actionable intentions are driven by which brands he's selling relative to what certs he's going for. And I would say to Elisabete that at the end of the day, here again, the brands will dictate when, where, and how. And so we need to coordinate, all of us, not only the mills, but the garment makers, the NGOs, and the brands, so that we can all come together and understand, to Hasan's point, it is the law of the land of which we find ourselves. And I think Mark made that same comment. So we're all saying the same thing, but now we need one common voice, and we need to drive in a true spirit of transparency to make it a reality.
That's a very good point. Mark, is there ever any brand that has approached you or a band saying, listen, let's work together on that. We can share the investment. I mean, has that ever happened, that anyone has come to you with collaboration?
Yeah, we do collaborate a lot with suppliers and our customers. So we do it on both sides. But our customers come in and say, okay, we want to have this amount of water savings, let's say. And that's one of the issues. The brands are not always aligned on what they see as important, what they see as, things that need to be worked on in the production method. Is it water? Is it, new fibers? Is it, sustainable colors? Everyone's not aligned. So we're kind of, taking a little bit from everyone and trying to make sure everyone gets their needs met. And that's expensive. And Rich is absolutely right. We don't generally get paid for it. So
yes, that's a problem. So Hasan, the brands are not willing to pay a little bit more, because we're not talking about a lot of money. I mean, we are talking about something per garment, right? But it seems that the brands are living in a wonderful wonderland where they can ask for whatever they want and for free, right?
Yeah.
Miguel, first of all, I agree to both the gentlemen and the lady as well. But the important thing is that we need to understand one thing. The process has to be simplified now. The process has to be simplified and has to be effective. It should be cost effective, and in terms of what we need, as Richard said, that sometimes we come up with the idea of, water saving. Sometimes we come up with any kind of a new fiber, which is a story, sometimes, which is a story for brand, because there is no mechanism which basically authenticate the claim.
Yes.
You understand my point? Let's say today I said that I saved 10 gallons of water, or 5 gallons of water per meter, or 2 gallons of water per meter. What is the mechanism anyone has to justify this?
Yeah,
there is no. So what I believe is that first of all, we should simplify the requirement,
yes.
make it effective. And then there is a need to be very transparent in our systems. And then we can share the data with our fellows in all over the world and do the benchmarking, and by doing benchmarking, we will know that what
We have some problems.
other
Yeah, Hasan, we're not getting you very well. Okay, no problem. We move on until Hasan is back. Elisabete, is there any connection between the brand's requirements, increasing requirements, and greenwashing, that they want to show that they are
other part of the world are doing, and we should share the knowledge?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So moving to Elisabete now, and is that, do you see a connection between the increasing increasingly higher demand from brands and greenwashing, that they want to show how good they are and will they pass all the tests and everything. But at the end of the day, the brands do not understand well. I'm not talking about, I'm very generic on that, very general. But do you think that the brands understand the value of what the mills are producing for them, following the standards and everything? Or it's just marketing? That they just want to have this for a marketing purpose? Actually,
I think it depends on the customer. There are some customers who really want to go forward and they are more committed in all this project we are now focused on the sustainability. And there are some customers or brands that are going forward, going on the trend. I mean, but actually, some of them want to be more informed and want to go to the mill and want to see, not all, but we have few of them that are more involved. But actually, at the end, they are not totally conscious of all the work that we have to do to make this. And the price, of course, we also. My colleagues also already mentioned this situation. They want to know about it. They want to know about certification. They want to have the certification, but they don't want to pay more for the product. So this is actually as a R&D head of R&D of Denim clothing. We are super involved in this project of making more sustainability. Actually, we already made a 100% sustainable collection, and we see the customer. Okay, they want to see, but finally, if we discussed about price, about quality, and all the project goes down, and we have to do something. And finally, the buyers and all the management have to manage all the certification. All the certification and all this more like how can I say, it's more like an advertisement.
Yes.
So we are still there. I believe we are still there.
Let me end the panel with one question for all of you, is about the future. And the first thing about the future is, do you foresee, connecting with what Elisabete just said, do you foresee brands paying a little bit more for the products, for the better products that you are delivering? I mean, how do you see the future of this mess that we are in concerning regulations and certifications? Any of you, all of you.
Well, let me jump in. I mean, the future, when you talk about greenwashing, where we've come from, I've been in this business since 1990, and where you started in 1990, it was not a clean business. Where we've come is light years away from that. And we need to really, accentuate the fact that denim mills around the world have done a lot to make their business more sustainable and cleaner, be it regulations, but they're doing the work. Absolutely. And we need to see that as a positive rather than, throwing greenwashing out or this or that. It really is a positive evolution of the business, and there's a lot more to go. Will customers pay for it? That's our responsibility to not only be clean and have a sustainable product, but give them a right product at the right price. I mean, it's just the nature of the business.
And also for the panel, and that's going to be my last question. Do you think that end consumers understand all the efforts, all the energies, everything that the denim mills are doing to provide a sustainable product? Do you think that the consumers are really understanding what's going on?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at that. I don't believe that we've messaged appropriately or to the degree we need to educate the consumer in a more total, holistic view. I think that there are portions of the consumer segment that understand what's involved, but I think it's smaller than it needs to be. But I also believe that the Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen X, whichever you choose to call them, will keenly be looking at products and their traceability, because they're going to be living in an environment. We're already living in an environment that's been impacted by global warming. And if you think we haven't, then I'd like to ask, where have you been and what have you been watching? Because we're here. It's not a futuristic view. It's here, it's now, it's palpable. and it's real. So we need to address it. And, you know, to your point earlier, Miguel, you're asking, you know, what do we talk about in terms of magnitude of pricing? You know, and on our end of it, it's nickels and dimes. I'm not asking for a lot. So certainly we can absorb those costs and lose the cost neutral mentality associated with new technologies, because they have to be paid for until they're scaled. And then when they're appropriately scaled, commiserately, price will come out and cost will come out. So, you know, we're here.
Yes, that's a very good point. Well, you're absolutely right. I recall a discussion with a brand, and we were saying, listen, but this is going to cost only 1 cent more per garment. But the brand said, yeah, but we are selling 1 billion garments. So that is a lot of money. Okay. Is there anything?
At the end of the game, Miguel, how about we sell less and make more?
Ah, my God, this is my favorite topic. We are in the hands of mass fashioners, and this is killing everything. I fully agree with you. Okay, so is there anything you would like to say to the audience, that there are brands and people watching this panel? Is there any message you would like to say, you know, to these people that are, you know, part of the industry on the other side of the wall?
Yeah, Miguel, can I take this one for a minute?
Yes.
I must say I agree with Richard that denim industry or textile industry has done a lot from the last 20 years, if we see 20, 30 years. And we are now entering into a new era of Industrial 4.0, where things are getting digitalized. And I think that we should be standardize the regulations as well as simplify them, you know, and make it more effective. On top of it, if we start communicating with each other more, both ways, as you said, the brand should come to the mill and mill should, you know, explain the brand, can create a very good environment. On top of it, I will appreciate if we make a certain kind of forum where all the mills around the world can share their knowledge on a single platform and can teach each other, or we can learn from each other by using these technologies. So this is my take.
That's something when you think about a unified voice. You know, we are pushing the Transformers Foundation for that, representing the complete supply chain, denim supply chain, and Transformers Foundation is basically for that, to be unified, to streamline the message, so it gains power to the brands and the rest of the denim stakeholders. So, well, we have to do our best in every single segment, and you know, hope that one day things will get better soon in all aspects, including the financial aspect. So thanks very much to all of you. Oh, sorry, Elisabete, please.
Oh, sorry, just like a final note, like a positive note. I think all of us need some positive notes about, I think this is everything, all of us are a little bit under pressure with all this situation, with all this certification and all this, but finally I believe we are preparing the future, that it's happening now for sure, but for future generation, because for sure they are, I hope so, and I believe they will be much more conscious and they want to know what's behind the product. So maybe today this is not happening, but I have like someone inside of me that hope that the next generation, and I'm talking about in the next 5 years maybe, really want to know what's happening behind their jeans and how it happened. So that's just a positive note.
Let's express some optimism for the people that the mills are doing their best and things will be good, you know, eventually. And okay, this will be a good message to end up this call, message of optimism. So thank you, Elisabete, Mark, Hasan, and Rich. Thanks very much for your participation, and looking forward to meeting you live sometime next year. So keep well in the meantime, and you know, let's stay in touch for any other topics that you may like to discuss. Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.